If you don't mind, please bow your heads. Dear Lord, whose wisdom and mercy passes all understanding, please be with us today and guide us in a way that brings you glory. Please be with us as we make the decisions in the best interest of our fair city. We ask you, Lord, for your wisdom and hope that all we do is a reflection of you. Tonight especially, we ask that you welcome our friends Bob Rosenthal and Wayne Adcock into your kingdom. And we thank you for that, allowing them to be such a special part of our lives. May we behave in a manner that's pleasing in your sight, and we always thank you for listening to our prayers. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let the record reflect that, I'm counting everybody, all members are present. And I now need an approval of the agenda. Before we do that, do we want to amend the agenda for discussion? Larry?
I don't know if he can get on. He's trying to get on.
Okay. We'll come back. Let's approve the agenda as is at the moment.
Ross Bradley, move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Ross Bradley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nathan Little. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. I now need an approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the council minutes from March 3rd and 10th, a special session on the 26th, the March 3rd executive session minutes, February 13th Downtown Development Authority and Convention and Visitors Bureau minutes. Could I have an approval, please?
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Mr. Little. Do I have a second?
Second, Lee Malcolm.
Second, Lee Malcolm. She jumped you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment submitted, Mayor.
No public comment submitted for the evening. We'll move to new business for the Madison Davis subdivision, Phase 3 final plat. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this item is just the final approval of the plat for the PRD, known as the Madison Davis PRD. It's finally got all the T's crossed and I's dotted, and we're ready to allow them to record that and get to developing. So that's basically the gist of what we've got there.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Kelly? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
A motion to approve by Mr. Dickinson and a second by Mr. Bradley. Mr. Ross Bradley. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Wanted to give a little update before we go, and hopefully we could give Larry a moment to see if he might be able to come in. From our noon update today with the Georgia Department of Health, Walton County still has 48 cases of COVID-19 with 2 deaths. Our population is 99,000. Worldometers has our state with 14,223 cases. That's up 600 from yesterday, with 501 dead out of the population of 10.7 million. So we're in precarious times, and I know a lot of folks are hysterical one way or the other that we're doing too much, we're not doing enough, the governor's doing too much, the governor's not doing enough. And we appreciate all the calls that you have been taking from your constituents. And if there's anything we can do to help move the ball forward a little bit, please let me know. I want to remind you, Wayne's family will be here at City Hall right out front of the fountains at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. If you have any Georgia Bulldog stuff, decorate your cars. I don't have any, so I'll try to do an American flag or something for him. And are there any comments from council before we adjourn? Larry?
Yes.
Are you in?
Yes.
Just I guess before we adjourn, I did want to talk, Logan and I discussed extending cutoffs and the suspending late fees, and don't know that we're going to be able to afford that. We're going to do everything that we can to make that last at least another couple of weeks, but that's running us, I think Beth said yesterday in an email, a little over $100,000 a month. Was that right, Beth?
It's about 65 to 75,000, depending on what month it is, because late fees are a percentage of balances. So it varies. So you can average about 100,000, but it's about 70,000 a month. So
Okay.
lost a couple weeks in March and then all of April.
Okay. And plus, the longer we extend it, the balances are still going to be due. So that's going to be something that really Logan and Beth work together on to make sure we have enough money to let folks go as long as we're obligated without putting ourselves in any precarious situations. Are
Question,
there any
Mayor.
other?
Yeah, the
Yes.
question is, are we communicating with those people that are not paying the bill to be sure they understand that we've waived late fees and are not doing disconnects?
It was.
Missed the last part there.
We tried to relay that information through social media and on our website and through these meetings. We can do a flyer in the bills if we need to, if you think that we need to go that extra step to get that out in the month of May. But bills have already started going out for April, so we're already halfway through April. But we have done that through social media, through the website. And so I do believe that customers are aware that balances are going to still occur and keep adding up. The problem is that the longer that we allow them to go, the larger their balances are going to get if we don't encourage them to start paying a little bit towards their balances as they can.
Is there a way to transition into a 50% reduction in the bill or something that will help alleviate that stress?
Like a payment plan?
So we will do that. Beth and I were talking earlier today about the payment plan options, and there's a couple different ways to go about this, but ultimately what we would have is basically splitting the bill into two. So the time late fees and disconnects are waived, that won't start the shot clock for adding new late fee penalties on new balances going forward. So let's say May 1 comes around, we'll have a new bill that would be subject or may be subject to late fee penalties, but everything from March through April when we didn't have this would not be subject to that. So there's really two different balances running on the account. And Beth feels confident that she can administer that and then still allow those partial payments to occur to keep these balances down so people don't get swamped over the next few months with super large bills, as long as they keep making some effort to make payment. What we can't do is completely wipe out balances. As you know, I don't think that would be fiscally responsible to the City of Monroe Corporation. As it stands now as utilities, that's millions of dollars per month that we would incur. So we can't do a full-on write-down. That's unfortunately impossible. But we're doing everything we can to mitigate the cost to our ratepayers right now.
Okay. Are there any other questions about that?
Logan, are you going to waive the late fee for March and April? Or are they still going to have to pay the late fee for March and April?
Yeah, so March and April are currently waived. No disconnects, no late fees all the way through April 30th. And we'll take an evaluation stance right now to see if we need to go any further. It depends on, of course, what the governor does with a lot of these shelter-in-place orders, which are hampering business and employment. So a lot of that will be fleshed out over the next 15 days, I think.
Just quickly from legal, waiving the late fee and creating some payment plans is certainly within your purview. The strong advice we would give is following up on what Logan said. We cannot get into a realm of discussing just writing off or wiping out the bills for March and April. Not only is it fiscally irresponsible in the current short term with your cash flows, but it would be hugely fiscally irresponsible as it relates to our bond rating and our ability to seek financing efforts in the future on behalf of the city. So waiving late fees and giving payment plans is totally doable, and sounds like staff is doing a great job of getting on that. But we don't need to be in the concept of talking about, well, they just don't have to pay March, April. Those balances will be there, and whatever staff comes up with as a payment plan, you know, is what they're going to have to comply with.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Do you have any other questions or comments? If not, I'll accept a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Ross Bradley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Crawford. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.